She got my back. I'm happy.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. On today's tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with you how to sew a simple combat or cargo trouser. If this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always supporting my channel. So let's start. So if you haven't yet watched the drafting video, please go ahead to watch that, and we have used our pattern to cut this out. So next step, we're going to first of all work on the front pattern of the trouser. So first I'll go ahead and unpin my pattern. So for the front part of this trouser, that is the pocket part, I will be reducing the pocket because I felt it was too long. But if you're okay with this, please go ahead and work with what you have. So I cut out about 1 inch out from it. So I placed it on another pattern, and I'm just going to go ahead to trace it out. So the part that is slanted, I added ½ inch to it, but the rest I cut out the actual size. So I'm going to be cutting out 2 pieces for this. So now to work on this part, I'm just going to open it up this way, and I'll be folding the edge of the pocket. So now this is it. I don't know if you're seeing it very well because my fabric is a little dark, and I'm just going to fold here with ½ inch, and I'll go to the sewing machine and stitch. So after stitching, I ironed it out. This is what I have. So you're going to go ahead to place it on your trouser this way, and now you're going to start working with your pin. So you're going to fold in with ½ inch, that is the side facing the crotch part of your trouser, and you're also going to fold the lower part of this trouser with ½ inch. And after you're done folding this, you're going to go ahead and top stitch on the sewing machine, and you're going to do this neatly because this is on top of your trouser that you're top stitching, and also top stitch it also by the side of the trouser. So after I'm done top stitching, this is what I have, and this is what my pocket is looking like. So if you notice, I also top stitch on top to hold it down. So you'll be repeating this for 2 sides of your trouser. So next, you're going to go ahead to pick up your back pattern, and for your back pattern you also have 2 pieces. So here is my trouser. I've gone ahead to iron it out. It was actually rumpled. So now you're going to take one part of your trouser, that is the front part, and place on the back part of your trouser, that is the right side facing right side, and you're going to top stitch with the wrong side. Or you're going to go ahead to sew with ½ inch at the sides of the trouser. So before you go ahead to stitch, go ahead to pin down your trouser. When you're working with your trouser pattern, or actually this pattern, you want each part to meet. So I'll go ahead and I'll stitch with ½ inch. But in case you're finding it difficult to stitch with ½ inch, just go ahead to mark it. So at the hip point, I went in a little to avoid having ear at my hip, but don't go in by more than 0.75 inches. If not, your hip part might be tight because this is actually a fitted combat trouser. So now this is my trouser, and I've gone ahead to join the 2 sides of my trouser, and this is what I have. So after I'm done doing this, the next step I'm going to take is to start working for the back pocket of my trouser. So whatever I do on one part of the trouser, I will go ahead to repeat it on the other part of the trouser. So now you're going to turn your trouser to the front part, that is the front part of the back, and we're trying to sew the pocket for the back. So for the back pocket, I went ahead to reduce it by 1 inch at both sides, that is at the lower part and at the upper part. Before it was about 7 inches on both sides, but now I reduced it to 6 inches. I felt it was a bit bigger. So now we're going to place our pockets. Before placing your pocket, you have to go ahead to use your measurement so that your pocket will be on a straight line. So from my crotch line, I went in by 2 inches. So from the lower part of my trouser, I'm just going to draw a straight line this way, and I'll measure in about 3 inches down. I don't want my pocket to start too high up after my waist. So now you're going to start working with your pin. Whenever you're sewing this trouser, you have to work with your pin, especially your pocket, so that it's not bent. If not, you might not have a straight part on your trouser. And remember to fold up the upper part before we start attaching the pocket. So on the other side of my trouser, I went ahead to repeat the same thing I did on the other side, so that what I have on the left part of my trouser will also match what I have on the right part of my trouser. So now after doing this, I'm going to place my pocket and I'm going to fold it in with 1/2 inch. So to make this easier for you, you can just use your iron to fold it in with 1/2 inch, place and pin. But if you can't do that, just go ahead and do it this way: place and pin the sides, the lower part of the trouser and the other side. So I'll go ahead and repeat this at both sides of my trouser, and I will be top stitching on it or stitching down my pocket.
I'm happy that say everything I do is for my woman. Anything I talk, where you talk, I go do.
So after pinning, I'll go ahead and stitch up the pocket. So I'm done stitching up the pocket, and this is what I have for this part. So now is to work on the cover of the pocket. So this is it, and I don't want the cover for the back to be so big. I'll go ahead to fold this into 2 and top stitch, or if not, you can decide to fold the edges, fold the lower part and the upper part, and with that way you can also create your pocket cover for your trouser. So this is it. I've gone ahead to turn it up. I folded my fabric into 2 and I stitched up the sides. So I'll go ahead and repeat this at the other side, and for this part I'll fold it in with 1/2 inch, and I'm going to go ahead to top stitch it at the sewing machine, and after that I'll place it and stitch with 1/2 inch for the cover of the pocket. So this is it for both sides. I've gone ahead to top stitch it and actually join the edges. So I'll go ahead to draw that line and I'll stitch on it. By the time I'm done, I'll go ahead to iron and it will relax this way. So you can even go ahead and create your button allowance and add the button to it. So this is my trouser after I'm done attaching the pocket cover at the back. So now we're going to work for the side pocket. So for my side pocket, I want it to start a little above my knee. My knee point is from my waist is 21 inches, so I'm using about 16 inches, and I will make sure I mark this at both the front and back of my trouser, and I'll also repeat it on the other side. So after I'm done marking on the other side, I will move over to this side and I'll also go ahead to mark that 16 inches. So this 16 inches is not a standard. Remember, my knee point is 21 inches, so I went up like 5 inches, so you can go up like 3 or 4. It just totally depends on you. So now let's go ahead and work on the other pocket, which is the side pocket. So I'm using about 14 inches and 7.5. So now I'm going to mark this, and remember we are cutting for 2 sides of this pocket. So after cutting it, when I was cutting it out, I added 1/2 inch on top, so that I'm going to have like a folding allowance, and I'll slit what I have here into 2. So I have about 28 inches on fold, that's 14 inches. So now I've gone ahead to iron it out, and this is what I have. So fold what you have into 2. So after that, I'll go ahead and measure about 2 inches from the folded part. So I want to create like a little design, and make sure you're marking this on the right side of your trouser. Sorry, on the right side of your fabric, because you're going to be stitching this on the right side of your fabric. So I'll go ahead and I'll also repeat the same process on this side, and I'll go ahead to stitch it on that line. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have, and now we are going to go ahead to iron this. So you're going to open this up this way and you're going to iron it flat. So after ironing it flat, you're going to go ahead to fold up this part with 1/2 inch and also fold this up. So after I'm done folding the upper part with 1/2 inch, now it's time to attach this to my trouser. So I'm going to bring this to one side of my trouser, and I'm going to be placing this pocket on it. So I'm going to go ahead to find the middle, notch it, so that will help me find the middle of my trouser, and the middle of my pocket, and I'll place it this way. So now I'm going to be folding the edges, the 2 edge and the lower part of my trouser, and I'll go ahead to top stitch or sew on it. So after, I'll go ahead to top stitch. So after I'm done top stitching, this is what I have. So also repeat this at the other side of your trouser. So I've gone ahead to cut out the pocket for my trouser. So sorry, I couldn't cut this online, but the width is about 4 inches and the length is the size of your pocket. You have to measure the mouth of your pocket, how wide it is, and for the width I use 4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead to notch the center of my pocket this way, and I'll be adding this little strap that I made. So I wanted to put a buckle to this combat trouser, but I didn't find it in the market, so I'll just add this little strap on it. So place the other side on it and you're going to go ahead to pin. So I'll go ahead and I will top stitch on it this way, or sew on it rather. So I will go ahead and repeat the same process for this. I'll cut out the excess I have, fold this into 2, and I'll get the midpoint just like I did on the other part. So this is actually the cover for the pocket by the side. So after I'm done doing this, go ahead to place this and make sure that this is the right side that you're placing this way, right side facing right side, because we are going to be stitching on the wrong side. Go ahead to also pin it down. So I'll go over to the sewing machine and I'll stitch this up. So before going to stitch, after I'm going to explain how I'm going to turn it up. So after I'm done stitching, I will go ahead to fold this and top stitch them out just like we did for the other pocket. So I'm done stitching and this is what I have. This is the cover for the 2 pockets. So now you are going to be attaching this to the pocket side of your trouser, that is the side pocket. You can go ahead, place and top stitch, or you can just stitch it just the same way we stitched the back pocket, which is you just flip it to the other side, stitch and iron out. So you're just going to go ahead to pin it down, that is if you're top stitching it on top this way, but you can I'll go ahead and stitch it from inside out just like we did for the back pocket, and also repeat this for the other side of your pocket too. So before going to stitch my trouser, this is my zipper fly or zip flyer. I'm going to actually attach this. So remember, to cut it is about 2.5 inches by 8 or 9 inches. So I'll place the stretch part on this and I will sew with 1/2 inch. So I'm done attaching the cover for my trouser. This is what I have, and I've attached my zipper flyer. So this is my zip and you're going to attach it. So this is the right side. You're going to take the wrong side facing you. Make sure that is the wrong side of the zip that is facing you and the right side is facing your zipper fly. So after placing your zipper, go ahead to stitch on it. So I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I'll stitch on it. So this is what I have. So the next step is to go ahead to place your other trouser crotch on it this way. Take it and place it on the trouser this way, and you're going to add the second zip flyer or zip flap on it. Go ahead to place it, the stretch part on it this way. I don't know if you understand, but if you don't, leave the question at the comment section, and I'm going to go ahead to pin this down and I'll stitch on it. And after stitching, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So this is it. I'm done stitching. So next is to join your crotch, and to join that you're going to push in your trouser this way, that is push it in this way, covering the other side, and you're going to place your crotch together this way. Go ahead and pin it down and you're going to stitch with 1/2 inch. So if you're having difficulty stitching it up, go ahead to pin it. It will be easier for you to do so. So after pinning it down, I'll go ahead and stitch it with 1/2 inch. So I'm done stitching it and this is what I have. So make sure that you don't stitch up your fly at that point, and I'm just going to push this in this way, place it this way, and I'm going to top stitch on it to give it that design that you normally see in front of your trouser. So to make it easier for you, go ahead and mark it, and I'm just going to go ahead to stitch it up. So after stitching this, I'll be joining the back crotch of my trouser. All you're going to do is just place it together this way, and you're going to stitch with 1/2 inch. So I'm done stitching the front. This is what I have, and also the back. So after you're done stitching that part, now you're going to stitch up the side, or the center of your trouser. Go ahead to match it up this way. So your trouser has to meet at this point. You're going to stitch all the way with 1/2 inch down to the end of your trouser. So after I'm done sewing, this is what I have. So I went ahead to make these belt holders for my trouser. So I have 2 in front, 2 at the side, and 2 at the back, making it 6 pieces. So the length is about 3.5. You can use 3.5 to 4 inches. So now after fixing this, you're going to fix it at the back side. So this is my waistband, the trouser band, and you're going to go ahead to place, leave about 1/2 inch in front. So when you're cutting your waistband, if your total waist is 28, you're going to cut about 32 or 30 inches, because you're going to create a button loop or attach a button to one side of your trouser. So I'm just going to go ahead and place and pin this. So this is actually a 2-way band. So if you notice, it's cut into 2 pieces. So I'm just going to go ahead to use my pin to hold it. So anywhere I have the belt holder, I'm just going to use pin to hold it down. So pin it all the way to the other side of your trouser, and make sure that you attach your belt holder just like I'm doing here. Place your belt holder, then place your band, and then pin, and then go ahead to also place your belt holder at the other side. So you're going to continue doing this till you get to the belt holder in front of your trouser. So after you're done placing, now you're going to go ahead to take your belt holder, and you're going to top stitch it on the end of the first band. So after you're done top stitching it, you're going to get your second band, which is this, and you're going to place it. Make sure the right side is facing right side. So that 1/2 inch we left in front of the first zipper, you're going to stitch with 1/2 inch, and you're going to go ahead and stitch all the way round the trouser this way. So on the other side of the trouser, you're going to have about 1.5 inches out, and you're going to go ahead to stitch it. That will be serving as your button allowance in front of your trouser, and you're going to go ahead to fold it in with 1/2 inch, and you're going to top stitch from the front part of your trouser. So if you have any question regarding this particular tutorial, please don't forget to leave your question at the comment section. And at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button. So I'll go ahead and finish up my trouser, and this is the final look of this trouser. So if you find this tutorial very interesting, just like I said, please hit on the subscribe button, and thank you for supporting my channel. See you in my next video.